Okay, the energies are really feeling heavy today, and it is April 1st. So if you're watching this on April 1st and the day's not over, I'm probably going to upload it when today's over. But I got this download as I was outside that today's the day to release everything that you do not want moving forward. And of course, I feel like every day is that day to release and make changes, right? But any triggers that have been showing up for you today, it's a signal. It's a signal to stop that addiction, to stop with that mental loop that continues to sit in your mind and replay, okay? And just really let it go. And this actually resonates with the topic of today's video. I'm going to be speaking on authenticity and love, which we know are two of the most highest frequencies. They're so tied together. I was about to make two separate videos, but I'm like, those resonate together so well. If you're not accepting of parts of yourself, you cannot operate in your truest form. You cannot be authentically you, okay? Most people are unaware that they are runners. A bunch of you are actually avoidants. You're probably dealing with an avoidant who is running from you, but it's like you're running from yourself. That's what they're reflecting back to you, honey. The moment you start to face those parts of yourself and you start to accept them, okay, and just anytime you want to run from your shadows, you just sit. Okay, do not pick up that addiction. Do not. Things will start to change. You will really start to heal. I made this video of, being compassionate when it comes to your healing. And that is something that I had to learn with myself. And I spoke on how it's important to have a good relationship with yourself and be loving and accepting so that everything that you experience on your outer reality can also be experienced in a good way, in a positive way, instead of you projecting your ego and seeing everything as negative and bad. You gotta clear and cleanse your lens. Also because it makes it easier for you to stay in gratitude. Like in the past, I had a hard time due to certain situations that I had been through to be grateful because I was just so upset and I was just having so many low emotions within myself and I would just be projecting it. Know that in order to break free from yourself, you have to get honest with yourself. And a lot of us have built this mental cage, okay? And you're like, I want to be free. I want to be myself. I want to accept myself. I want to stop giving a fuck. Well, you know what? I'm going to just fuck the shadow work, fuck the journaling. You have to make conscious decisions right now today that you will be setting yourself free from the false judgment that you made of yourself. Because let's be honest, I've experienced this in the past where I walked into a place in the atmosphere and all of a sudden, due to my awareness, I would be thinking negative, like, damn, probably this person is saying this about me, probably this person, like that would be so draining. And in reality, no one was saying nothing bad. Nobody was really looking at me. I was the one criticizing myself. I was the one letting my ego just win. Collectively, I already know that there's this huge spiritual warfare on identity. And people just being so consumed by everything outside of them and not being grounded and just wearing masks all the time, trying to cover themselves with materialistic things and being defined by society standards and objects and what they have, not have. And it is so refreshing, which I've only met a few people. I've only come across a few people in this lifetime where people have actually operated in their true form. And you can see like the uniqueness, like that energy bouncing up from them. And it's like, you cannot compare them to anyone. You're like, you don't remind me of no one else. It's actually attractive. Knowing that they have accepted every good and bad aspect of themselves and they are so comfortable with just being. And personally for me, I feel like I'm getting to that point. Like I'm really, really getting to the point because God has really been pushing me to get to the point. I'm so glad that God has been helping me, heal the subperception that I have of myself. Like you have to remember that God has woven you in a very unique way and you have such a unique purpose and role on this earth. You need to operate as who you're meant to be and who you are. And if you're in that stage like me, that I've recently been meeting with my inner child, The best way that you can connect with your inner child is to be accepting and letting that little boy, little girl express themselves freely. Because that's all they've been wanting to do. Inside of you, they're like, just free me. And you're like, but like, this is the year people pleasing has to be over, y'all. Like, for real. Listen, I only want truth, honesty, uniqueness, um, love, peace around me. But I know that starts with me. And I know that everything around me in my outer reality is a reflection of my current identity. So I'm not going to blame it, even if I don't like what I'm saying sometimes. I'm not going to blame it. I'm going to accept it. But I have power to change myself. And the way I'm going to change it is by, like I said, being accepting of myself. Okay? Everyone creates individually a ripple effect towards the collective. For example, if you're a person who's insecure, you see somebody being fully themselves, you can either get triggered or you can get inspired. You can look at them like, wow, you know what? I can do that myself. I can choose myself. Not care about other people's judgment is a way of you choosing you. A person who is able to really emit like love and understanding towards other people is a person who has gone down the path of facing all the ugly parts of themselves. Also, if you're at a stage where you are single, right, and you're like, I want somebody, like, I just want love. Well, give that to yourself, honey. Give that love to yourself. You know what? I feel like God, in a way, it is kind of like God knows you want love, you want a relationship, right? Let's say you've been praying to God for it, and God hasn't presented to you a person on your path yet. God is wanting you to fully meet yourself, like fully dive into meeting yourself. And I feel like that is one of the purest gestures of love. Because if you are able to hold yourself first and experience loving yourself fully without another person, loving you, it's actually more empowering. Of course, if you're dating and you have somebody and y'all are able to work with that, both together and meet each other at a very deep level, then that is beautiful. But if not, stop complaining that you're single and just start to give yourself the acceptance and love that you've been craving. You owe that to yourself, change that internal dialogue. Like, you fear people's judgment because you're putting everyone on a high pedestal, and you don't know who's actually out there putting your ass on a high pedestal. They're seeing you as, this person, and you're just not seeing it yourself. Like, wipe your lens. You have been hiding for so long, and there are people that are ready to meet you once you start to be honest with yourself and start to show up fully as yourself. This also comes with accountability. You think people are oppressing you and caging you and pointing fingers at you, and sometimes it really be yourself. Like I said, sometimes it really be your own ego that is bringing you down. Sometimes you be like, you know what, I'm experiencing heavy warfare, but it's you just giving access willingly. So from now on, start to tell yourself, you know what, I am going to honor myself. I'm going to respect myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to commit to myself. And I'm going to free myself. And I'm going to break free from myself. Maybe that is something that God is just asking for you this season. I just want you to be you. Like, you've asked me for this thing. I need you to stop running from those parts that I've made you with. Like, you run away from your shadows and you try to hide them in the closet. I don't think that's fair. So anyways, guys, hope you guys like this video. Hope you guys got this message. Like I said, love, authenticity, they're both tied together. I want to start to emit love, then I have to start with myself. I have to start accepting myself. I have to start accepting my experiences, my situation, right? Like, I actually want you to understand how much of a flex it is to not meet society standards. Like, I used to be like, why, God, why did you make, like, why am I like this? But then I'm like, I have so much power because no one can compare me to no one. You know? Anyways, you got the memo, hopefully. But if not, and if you need further, assistance, or you just want to talk on things, then follow me on my other social media accounts below, and I'll see you guys on my next